What's up, guys? Dan 30 at 30 BFF here again. Wednesday night, starting 6, November 1st. Oh, day after all the trades and craziness just happened. Zeke and Garoppolo and everything. Najai, Benjamin. That shocked me still. I'm just gonna jump right into trades or trades. Well, my certain sits here. Again, I'm Dan Theory at 30 BFF. My two co-hosts, Nick Sparks at Nick Sparks, and then Chris Hopper at Hot BFF, are my two wonderful co-hosts. Let's just get into this. Got a lot here. All right, so I'm gonna do a little bit differently than I did last week. I'm going to give you guys a little more starts, a little more sets. I'm going to just do 2 from each position. There'll be 1 set at tight end because tight end has been a fucking shit show this year. And this week is not horrible, but not still the greatest, where all the good names are up top, still all the bad names are at the bottom. So, anyways, going on the quarterback starts. Tyrod Taylor. Jets are 7th worst against quarterbacks over the last 4 weeks. Tyrod's been one of the safer quarterbacks this entire season. Got a very safe floor. He hasn't been fantastic, no blowout weeks. For the most part, hasn't killed you. Now you're adding in Kelvin Benjamin. I know it's a short week. I think he'll play. I think he'll be involved right away. They have no downfield presence, pretty much at all. Kelvin will jump in. That may not be his main role, as he isn't a speedster. And he has his own problems that you're now adding into this mix, but he's their best receiver, hands down, right away. And Tyrod has at least shown that he can pamper his #1 receiver when it's a guy who can get downfield and create plays. And another red zone threat to help with their red zone inefficiency for them. I like this game. Another Thursday night shout out. Next, Jared Goff. Giants are 5th worst against the quarterbacks over the last 4 weeks. Goff has shown us that he can beat up against subpar defenses this season, at least pass defenses this season. Giants are also missing Janoris Jenkins with him being suspended, so I really like Goff this week. I like Watkins to finally get involved, and that just means higher upside for Kupp and was with his always great floor. So I do like Goff this week and another bye week hell for most people. Moving on to running backs. Adrian Peterson. Look, San Francisco is fucking terrible against running backs this year. Not only are they the worst this season, they're the worst. They've been the worst over the last 4 weeks. You can do anything. Zeke made them their bitch. I'm sure a high school running back at this point can make them their bitch. They have been pretty good against pass, but on the run, they just can't stop anybody. And when Drew Stanton as our quarterback for the Cardinals after Palmer went out and now is down. It's time for AP to step up and try to take control of this offense as himself. I see him getting a lot of touches, at least enough to have a decent day, and with no one else there to take any real actual carries from him. Next, Alvin Kamara. Since AP was traded, Kamara is your RB9 in PPR league, so that's 3 weeks ago. He gets the Bucks run D has been 5th worst against running backs over the last 4 weeks after the last 4 games. And they've given up the 7th most receptions during that span. Look, Kamara, this Saints offense is a little different than what we've seen. It's very run heavy. It's a lot of Ingram, a lot of Kamara. And Breeze still doing Breeze things, just doesn't have to do it as much. And with Ingram fumbling a few times last week, that could give that could give Kamara maybe a line for a little more carries. Very safe floor with his passing work and a lot of upside in a good matchup. I expect this to be higher scoring than last week's game, at least for the Bucks wise. I'll expect this game, I guess for both teams, I expect this game to go a lot more high scoring than in comparison with the last games for both these teams. What other receivers? The craziest fucking receiver we've seen, Will Fuller. I mean, the dude is on an historic pace. 13 receptions this year. 7 of them have been touchdowns. He gets a Colts defense that's been pretty fucking terrible. They gotta keep rolling. You can't bench Fuller. This pace will come to an end. It's just, when is it going to come to an end? And right now, it's a great matchup for them with the combination of of Fuller, Hopkins with Watson throwing the football. This entire offense, as I haven't seen a Texans offense look this deadly. And this is even with Andre Johnson and DeAndre Hopkins as your receivers. Watson looks like the real deal right now. That could obviously have all changed, but right now you got to roll off Fuller. It's bye week hell again, and here he is doing potentially could get you 2-on-2. I mean, I know he's very touchdown dependent, but it's a great matchup this week. Next is Tyreek Hill. Look, I know you're not going to bench him. You're going to probably play him anyways. But after last week, tough match, or not last week, after Monday night, people could be a little sour and down on him. Look, he's going up against a Dallas team that's, yes, has gotten better defensively, but they're still not great against the pass. And this game, I expect it to be high scoring as well. I like Tyreek to get his own this week. Moving on to tight ends. I'm going to go a little bit deeper than some of the guys I've talked about. Another Bills guy, another Thursday night game. Nick O'Leary. Look, the Giants have been fucking terrible against the tight ends over the last 4 weeks. Not only are they the worst during the span, they've allowed 5 touchdowns in these 4 games over these last 4 weeks. And Tyrod with the shiny new receiver, with Benjamin going to probably help take some heat off of the rest of this receiving core. Tyrod does like his tight ends. He likes them in the red zone. He likes them third down over underneath the middle. I know that this is also Benjamin's type of work, but I expect the Bills to use Benjamin in more of a down the field type of, those immediate to deeper routes to take advantage of Tyrod's better accuracy downfield than it is in the short game. So I expect Nick O'Leary not to, he may not have a top 10 week. I expect them to at least be a good serviceable tight end for this week during bye week hell, where you see some decent tight ends going by. And the tight ends as a whole, it just fucking suck. And you're looking for some production. You're looking for hopefully, a 5 and 50 almost in PPR leagues. Like, you're just looking for something. Next, last start, and of course, I gotta bring up his name because he's been my dude, Jack motherfucking Doyle. Gotta keep Doyle rolling, girls. You just gotta keep him rolling. Over the last 3 weeks, PPR league, he's retired in 1. He faces a Houston defense that's 4th worst over the last 4 weeks. He's also become the favorite target of Jacoby Brissett. The Colts are gonna have to score, no doubt about that, and they're gonna have to throw the ball. That's why I'm not the biggest fan of Gore and Mack, but I love Doyle this week. Even if Houston, tries to come down, I expect, or tries to take him out for some reason and ignore, maybe Ty. I still expect Doyle to have his own for this game. I expect a lot of targets again. And those are my starts. Hopefully, I can do a little bit better this week. Sits. Kirk Cousins. I know that Seattle's defense just got roasted by Deshaun Watson. But he's been fucking roasting everybody besides the Bengals in week 2. And that was his first, his first career start. Plus, Washington's offensive line is fucking horrendous. This is like Vikings, Seattle bad, last year bad. This is fucking bad. And Seattle's got a good defense, got a great pass rush. And I don't expect Cousins to have any time to throw. He loses Jordan Reed probably for this week. He's got very little production from prior. Doxson is still good, but he's still, learning and coming up on his own. I don't expect a great game from Cousins this week. And I know it's going to be hard to bench him, but if you can, find somebody else to play. Someone like a Goff or Tyrod, if you can. Next, Andy Dalton. Look, the Jaguars' defense have been really good against quarterbacks this year. I know it's a heavy bye week. Dalton may have to be your guy if you're in deeper leagues, but you got to look elsewhere. It's a horrible matchup. Do not like it. You don't even need to stat dive this to just see it. You just got to watch a couple of highlights. Don't play quarterbacks against the Jaguars defense. It's as simple as that. Moving on to running backs. I'm going to group up a clump. I'm just going to group up a team of running backs here, and that's going to be these Philadelphia Eagle running backs. They trade for Ajayi, which I guess is good. Ajayi is a good running back. He's a tad bit inconsistent, but he's a good running back. But they didn't get rid of anybody else that's there. So now you have a already crowded backfield added more. And that means lot of separated work. I still expect Blunt to get the short yardage and goal line work. I expect Smallwood to still see outside the 20s work. I expect uh, Corey Clement to to keep getting passing work and relief work. Now you're throwing a Jai, and he can do it all. At least that's what he was doing in Miami, and now we don't know what the role is. Blunt is still perceived as the starter, and that whole clusterfuck has now become worse than what New England's was. Throw in all that, and they're playing against the fucking Broncos. Enough said. Next, last one. Running backs. Marshawn Lynch. You're probably not going to play him, but he's off his suspension, and they get an okay matchup against Miami. Not the greatest. Miami, outside of the Ravens game last Thursday night, was pretty good against running backs. Both Richard and Washington looked pretty good against Buffalo last week. They weren't great. They both fumbled, and they both helped cost that game. But this entire Raiders offense is in a fucking shambles. This entire team is in a shamble right now. And I expect them to start, moving shit around, blowing some shit up, seeing what they can do differently to start, putting on some wins here. The Broncos are faltering. The Chargers have stumbled. The Raiders still have a chance to take this division, or at least try to fight for a wild card here, and I expect them to do that. This is still a great offense, but I expect them to go more up-tempo, more Derek Carr to Cooper to Cook to Crabtree, and you're mixing in guys like Richard and Washington who can keep up with that tempo. Lynch slows that shit down, and he hasn't worked. It just hasn't worked for them. I don't expect them to use it much going forward, so don't play him this week. Not a great matchup. Just with the emergence of Washington and Richard even more, I do not like Lynch. Next is moving on to receivers. Alshon Jeffrey, look, it's gonna be tough to sit. It's gonna be tough to sit Jeffrey. And this is more of a buyer's beware. But as I said before, with the Philly running backs, this is another very tough matchup. The Broncos are still very good against the pass. They still have, Aqib Talib and Chris Harris. Not to mention that Wentz has been really inconsistent when getting good, clean targets on Jeffrey. Jeffrey gets the targets, they're just not on target. And you saw last week was pretty bad against an emerging San Francisco secondary, but not a great one. And you saw it 2 weeks ago against Washington, where he's just not quite there with Jeffrey. Something's not quite clicking there. I don't like the matchup this week. I just don't see Jeffrey producing enough of a floor to make me feel comfortable. If you have a better receiver, if you have better receivers, I would play them here. At least great matchups. This is tough though. I understand it's bye week kill again, but I just don't like Jeffrey that much this week. Next, it's Corey Davis. He's on track to play this week. You haven't played him. He's been banged up, hurt. They've been resting him. And I understand in week 1, he had 10 targets against the Raiders. He was a beast. It was great to see, but he's playing against a Ravens defense that has been fucking stellar against the pass this season. And in fact, they're I believe 4th overall over the last 4 weeks during this time. I like Davis as an end of stash. Bench stash if you can get him if he was dropped. It's a good end of season run type of stash and a playoff run type of stash. I just don't like him this week. Moving on to my last player, my one and only tight end, and that's Martellus Bennett. This is the only real higher profile name with a good matchup, just a really bad situation. Detroit's been a little below average against tight ends over the last 4 weeks, and Bennett should have had a decent matchup here, but with all the inconsistencies in this entire offense, in the passing game especially, and this was with Rodgers playing, you throw in Hundley now, and it's just not there. I expect them to run the football a shit ton to try to not let Hundley lose this game for them, which means limited passes, limited targets, and you're really counting on maybe 2 or 3 targets going to Bennett. Hopefully 1 scores. That's pretty much it. I don't like them. Bench them. There's a lot more tight ends that have better matchups, better situations. So that's all I got for my start and sits. Hopefully I do better this week. I will be recording here in a second to do the news portion of this. All right, we'll see you guys in a bit. Peace.